Yo guys, Theo here on Common Sense. The sugar diet has gone viral lately. The most recent rendition of the snake diet by Cole Robinson, and a lot of people by now, have asked me what do I think about it. So today I'm gonna give you my take on the sugar diet, which may be interesting because, you know, I'm a fitness guy and definitely not a carbophobe, not even a sugarphobe. In fact, I think sugar is pretty damn sweet. I've also done sugar fasts in the past, and yeah, I am a holistic fitness coach, and among other things, weight loss is something that I help people with, right? So I have many thoughts around the subject. Let's begin by just telling you what the sugar diet is. If you missed it, it's sort of a fasting mimicking diet, meaning that you're gonna be eating every day just a whole lot less than you would on a typical caloric deficit weight loss diet, right? A much larger deficit. And in this case, all your calories will come from sugar, so fruit or juice or honey, dates, something like that, right? And to my understanding, you're supposed to have 2 days of the week when you eat lean protein as well, right? And so just what I personally feel when I see all these videos about the sugar diet pop up is a complete and utter lack of interest. Like, why would I care about this, right? Like, it's so obviously just the next extreme weight loss method for obese people that have failed to lose weight in any sort of normal way, if you will, that Cole have come up with, right? Like, he has done this has been his thing. He has flip-flopped between different extreme things, and at the time, he's talking about it as if that was all he ever promoted, and that's just his rhetoric. Like, I'm not knocking the guy, right? But I've seen this enough, and so why would I care about the next? I can tell already that okay, it's gonna be some kind of extreme weight loss diet when you're basically only eating sugar or focusing on sugar or something. So me personally, because that's something that interests me, people have not only asked what I think about it, but a surprising amount of people have asked me if I'm gonna go on it, and it's like, why would I do it? You know, I can gain or lose weight at will. You know, my diet already contains a good amount of sugar, honey, fruits, juice, that kind of stuff. But I want to get some protein and fats in from the meats and eggs and stuff too. Like, why would I be interested in going on? I'm like, do you not understand that this is what it is? It's a tool for someone that's been unable to lose weight in any other way, right? Like, what comes to mind for me with this, whether it's a fasting for fucking 3 days and eating once and fasting for another 3 days, or eating low protein keto, that was the last thing by Cole, or not last, but a somewhat recent thing that was completely different, like all these things. None of them look like what a healthy, fit person then, how they go about their life, practically, right? Like, Cole obviously follows the diets, but that's he is a former powerlifter that now is very passionate about helping very obese people lose weight. And of course he's gonna do whatever diet he promotes at the time, but it's not because he thinks it's ideal for him, This is very much, the way I see it, is like someone that's really, really heavy drug addict, like on benzos or something, that just cannot go off them, like can't function, or like die from withdrawals or something, so they kind of have to use drugs, either use drugs to get off the drugs, or actually be on some kind of drug permanently for the rest of your life. So you see, that's the way I mainly see a diet like this, that at a point, if you cannot lose weight in another way, it's like whatever makes it work is gonna be a good way, right? So you see what I mean? I have seen really overweight people do very well on the complete opposite to the sugar diet, some kind of keto carnivore diet, right? And if that worked for that person, that's like, well, that's great, And now I'm seeing some people reporting that they have good results losing weight on the sugar diet. And the same thing is like, well, that's great if it works for you. The thing I would tell you, whether it's the sugar diet or a keto diet, but when you're doing something that just does not look at all how any person goes about their life when they're actually at the weight that they like, right? What I want you to keep in mind is, have a fucking plan for how to transition out of this diet that you're most likely not gonna stick to for the end of your for the rest of your life, right? Like have some kind of transition plan. The thing is, a lot of people that struggle with weight loss, they tend to focus a lot on the method to lose the weight, you know. And of course, like I'm telling you, especially the person that's really, really, really obese or really food addicted, struggle a lot, right? Of course, you're gonna have to come up with some kind of method to lose weight. But I'm always like, fucking, not just thinking about losing weight. Like, how can I deplete myself so that I lose weight? It's like, how can I change my habits and behaviors so that I am healthy and fit and strong and function and feel well, you know? How can I, not just how do I eat as little as possible to lose weight, but it's like, how can I come up with a strategy so that I eat good, healthy, nutritious foods that support my health, you know, and well-being, right? And because, you know, I've worked with, I don't specialize as much on like obese people these days, even if I get one here and there that's more on the overweight side. But I've seen this a lot, like people talking about the extreme things they've done to lose weight. You know, I know I brought this particular guy because it just sticks in my mind. That in a live stream I did, went off in the chat bragging about all the extreme things he had done to lose weight. And I asked, like, well, what do you weigh now? And he was like 300 pounds now or something. And it's like, well, so you're just kind of running back and forth, like some kind of extreme weight loss method and just crapping out the complete extreme unhealthy behavior in that sort of way, right? So it might be the case for someone that something like the sugar diet is like a stepping stone, that you have to do something that's just like, this is an intervention. It doesn't really look like the way I'm going to eat in the end. But the closer you get to a healthier body weight, the more, in my view, you should start transitioning to something that just looks like a more fucking healthy, just real way of eating, you know. And so what I'll say, just thoughts about the sugar diet specifically, though, is that, you know, I have done sugar fasting in the past. I guess that's also why, apart from me having affiliations with the snake diet and fasting from the past, I have actually done some experiments with a sort of sugar fast. I call it sun soda fasting. You can search sun soda on this channel. What I did was I mixed orange juice and coconut water 50-50 for a very good cocktail, right? And I would drink like a couple of liters of this per day on a fast, which was like 800 calories, which is quite low for someone with my metabolism, right? And yeah, I would have some salt too. You know, like there's a good amount of potassium in the drink already, but I would add the sodium, right? And what I'll say is, just as someone who's done a lot of just straight up fast 0 calorie fasting, saltwater fasting, you know, is that since I've adapted to that, I find regular complete fasting quite easy. This was just ridiculous, you know. Like any sort of, like I generally feel quite good on most fasts that I do now, but I could get like low, just feel a little slow at some point, or maybe in an evening on the early in the fast, get a headache or something, and just getting these additional calories from sugar was just like, okay, it's a breeze. It's like none of that. I pretty much feel almost like normal, you know, going through the fast. But that's also in contrast to that I already master fasting without sugar quite well. So adding that in was just like, well, now it's just a breeze. Well, I'll say, you know, if you're someone that needs to do something extreme to lose weight, it's like, well, figure out what works for you, you know. Because I had one guy that actually tried this diet that I co-tried, a quite overweight guy. And you know, because he wanted to, but in his case it just didn't work. Like, he felt pretty good from the sugar. That's I think that's a point of the sugar, that you'll feel good, you know, have good energy, but he didn't get the satiation effect, you know. So very fast he would like, even on the sugar he would end up eating too much, or just, you know, later just giving in and eating something else, right? But for someone else that maybe it's more the energy and well-being feeling, you know, maybe the sugar diet would work better for you than some kind of keto diet, right? It's like, do you see what I mean? That I'm not for or against a thing like this. I just see it for what it is. One extreme tool that might work well for certain people that have struggled a lot with weight loss. But I'll just give you my little take on sugar in the end here. It's you know, it's interesting to me that we, you know, view sugar as just bad, a lot of us, many of us, right? Because, you know, uncommon sense, that's my thing, right? Like, I'm happy to look at research and information outside of myself, but in the end, I always go by my experience and my judgment and just how do I see things, right? And to me, it does not make sense with this amazing biological machine that we have, the body. There's so many amazing features, the sensitivity and the precision of certain things it can do and tell us, information it can give us, it's amazing, It just seems ridiculous that this divine machine has this glaring flaw that, something that's terrible for you tastes amazing, sugar. It tastes like rocket fuel, Why would it be so bad for you? And then the caveat is, of course, that there's a huge difference between eating honey, eating fruit, eating freshly squeezed or drinking freshly squeezed orange juice, or some hyper-processed, candy. There's a ton of cane sugar, but not just that, a ton of artificial ingredients, and also designed in a way to kind of exploit your taste buds, so you end up overeating in a way that you probably wouldn't do on fruit and stuff, There's a huge difference there. But other than this, what sugar is just fast digesting carb, fast acting carb. In the summers here, I run around drinking this sun soda even when I'm not completely fasting. I feel like I'm just running on rocket fuel. It's like it's just a carb source, a fast carb source in its natural form, right? But I tell you this, even I've noticed that even me, when on my most recent bulk, I have quite high metabolism. Gaining weight for me is quite challenging, and so I would start to eat sugary candy. Like, just look for glucose-based candy with as few additives as possible, and just when I was short on time or just short on calories, need to get in, or just squeeze a bag of these, and it's like, what I'm telling you is that I enjoyed eating this candy. With my already good habits and insulin sensitivity and muscle mass, it's not like this, I don't know, kicked me into some kind of junk food, sugar, sweet addiction or anything, right? Now when I'm cutting it, it's been quite easy to just remove all of that stuff. So let me just think if there was any more thought I had. No, I guess those were all my takes around it. But I can tell you that I made a general weight loss video recently. It's called Big Weight Loss Video. Like, if you search the channel for that or just go browse, you'll find that. I just tell you all my general methods for it. But I think one thing I want to take with you from this is that something extreme like this, I'm not for or against it. It's not good or bad. It's just like looking at, what do I specifically have to do? What thing could help specifically me accomplish what I want? Lose weight, right? But so other than this, I just want you to stop focusing so much on what will lose me the weight. What will lose me the weight? Be like, how do I want to live my life? How can I structure and go about my life? What habits can I change, so that I eat healthy, I exercise, I take good care of myself, I'm just a healthy individual, Because, overweight people tend to say that also a lot. That, but I am overweight, so the healthiest thing I can do for myself is to lose the weight. Absolutely. But the person that's already healthy and is in good shape, is at a good weight, they're living a certain way, and you have to start thinking about living it that way also, not just like, how can I dig as deep as fast as possible into the fat, right? And the diet I personally follow, it's the most similar actual diet that's out there is the vertical diet. I've used that as a starting point. There's sugar, there's fruit, orange juice in that one, but you get the majority of your calories from red meat and white rice. But that's more for the fitness-focused person. I'd recommend, for someone that's following a diet like that on weight loss, I'd prefer potatoes, more satiating than the rice. But that's a more well-rounded, diet, guys. You should strive to get to something like that in the end, preferably, okay? So please like and comment. Always interested to hear your thoughts, of course. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually. We're working on ourselves, body, mind, and soul, losing weight, building muscle, but becoming that person that just goes about life a certain way, has a certain regimen, right? And coming up with a structure that fits your life, the plan that fits your life. That's what I do. So if you're interested, you can send me a DM on Instagram or email me. It's in the description below. I'll get back to you in my different programs and current offers. Pick up my training book, everything training, philosophy, mindset related you need in order to become a self-reliant, jacked and stacked individual. You can apply for a free consultation also on my website, uncommonsensebodybuilding.com. Please subscribe for more content about fitness, fast losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It is a mindset, guys. There's no fad diet that's a magic one solution. They are all tools. Look for the one good, healthy, just normal diet that works for you in the end. Healthy behaviors, not just weight loss. Okay, peace.